أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. وشر أمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد. وحث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الشباب بشكل عام وخاص، الشباب بشكل خاص على الزواج، فقال: يا معشر الشباب من استطاع منكم الباء فليتزوج. رواه البخاري ومسلم. فهما يحث الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم الشباب الذين يمتلكون القدرة المالية والجسدية والشهوة الفطرية على الزواج، وحث عليه النكاح كثيرة ودلائل كثيرة. ومع ذلك فإن كثير من الشباب والشبابات يفرطون بهذه عبادة عظيمة فهو الزواج. ونحن نثمر كثيرا بهذه العبادة، ومن ثمارها الأولاد الذين هم زينة الحياة الدنيا، ومن ثمارها مفاخرة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بكثرة نسل أمته. My respected brothers and sisters, one of the things Jalla wa Ala he mentions in Quran al-Kareem, in Surah Al-Taha, he says, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلتَّقْوَى. And enjoin salah on your family and be patient in offering them, i.e. the salawatul khams. We ask not any of you lot for any provision. Jalla wa Ala says, نَحْنُ لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقَكَ. I'm not asking for anything in return. وَنَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ, and I will provide. وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلتَّقْوَى, and the good ending is for the one who is pious. In that verse, if you contemplate a bit more, you'll realize Jalla wa Ala, he mentions three things. Number one is salah upon yourself first. Salah at your own home. For the men, the salawat of the sunnah. You go to the masjid. If you can't go to the masjid, then you do your salah at home. You do your salah at home if you can't go to the masjid. And then you implement that action at your own home. You implement it at your own home. Then he says, I am the one who provided everything for you. I have given everything. I have set your affairs in the perfect manner. I've given you everything, from your wealth, from your health, from your children, from your spouses. وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلتَّقْوَى, and the end result is for the believers, for the one who lived a life of piety. That's going to be the end result. It's not going to be for the talih. It's not going to be for the one who led a treasured life. You know, we complain about issues these days in our community. We can talk about politics. We can talk about the news and feel sad. The biggest jarima, the biggest crime in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal is that people don't pray. Yes, we can go to our feeds and see all these atrocities that may happen around the world. But the biggest atrocity is our own home, where our own children don't want to pray. You remind them they don't want to pray. And when they want to pray, when you want to encourage them to pray, it's too late. They don't feel the khushu anymore. You know, a small child, when you encourage him to pray from a very young age, he doesn't mind. He goes with his dad to the masjid. He runs around, he plays around, he holds your neck. He does all those kind of things, which is fine, because he's learning. And then daddy goes again. And then mom goes and prays at her own place. And then dad wears a nice jubba, a nice thobe. He goes to the masjid. What are you doing here? And some of you lot bring your kids to the masjid as well. Allahumma barik. Especially during the holiday times. We all do this. A young child looking at this, eventually he will realize that salah is important in my life. Salah is something that is important in my life. Because I see my parents doing it. I see my siblings doing it, my elderly siblings doing that act of worship. But when you don't walk the talk in your own home, when there is no salah going on, when you don't enjoin good and forbid evil at your own home, when you see your own children being so busy with the gadgets, and you're not bothered about your own daughter, who she's talking to, your own niece, who she's talking to, then that's the biggest threat that can come to your own home. Then after many years, that same daughter that you raised at your own home, she breaks your heart, because now she's going out with a man who doesn't deserve that person at all. He is not deserving of your own daughter. Because we know that many men on the roads, that's what they do. They prey on the individual girl, and then what happens? She breaks her heart, and then he moves on. And you're the one who is picking up the bits and pieces. There's something that us as imams we deal with regularly. Yes, because they couldn't implement salah at their own home. They couldn't implement it at their own home. There's no deen in the house. Your daughter goes out with no hijab. You say, no, it's fine. My daughter is so beautiful. Allahumma barik. You don't want to make her cover her hair, wearing a loose outfit, something that is modest. We're not into none of that. We're busy waking up in the morning and going and making our bread and butter. We're busy thinking about how to pay that bill off, how to pay that mortgage off. We live a double life. We live a double life. There is no engagement with the children at all. Yes, your daughter may say, do you know what, and then what, dad, whatever. They may reject in the beginning, but you show them love and compassion. You be a bit more wiser when it comes to giving da'wah. You don't forcefully say it. You don't forcefully say it. You know, Allahu Alam, maybe some of our daughters, maybe they look at the Instagram, the status in your WhatsApp. Put something about Salah on it. Put something that is good. Indirectly. Tell your wife, you know what, sit down with our daughter, you talk to her. Get some message across why she's not doing this. You have issues with the children, sit them down. But my brothers and sisters, they will look at you. They look at you. How many times I've seen where the daughters, they say, you know what, but my dad is a hypocrite, he doesn't do it himself. Why am I supposed to do it for? You know, so heartbreaking. But this is your own fault. This is our own doing. Jalla wa ala, he says, Nahnu narzuquk. Brothers, I want to talk about something different. Okay, that wasn't actually my topic. But I want to talk about something that is more important, that is many of our young men, many of our young shabab, they're finding it hard to get married. Constantly. Okay, very high demand of mahar. Very high demand of, of the requirements. It's very unrealistic. It becomes really unrealistic because we have pushed it towards that area. Many of the brothers, they don't have much of a demand. But unfortunately, they also have very wrong demands as well. Like she has to have certain type of qualification. She has to have certain type of beauty. And when they go into the Instagram and the social media, they see a fake life that is going on and they desire it. And they live a life of undecisiveness. When they do come across with a suitable suitor, they start rejecting it. They start feeling, you know what, maybe she's not the one. Maybe she's not the person for me. She's not as pretty enough. She's not as educated enough. And this is something that we all face, very much indecisive of going ahead with the proposal. And this is one of the waswas of the shaitan. Because the criteria is really simple. The criteria is very simple. She does her salah, she covers up, she's got family members who are up on the deen, and that's it, you go ahead with it. But no, that's not enough for many of us, our men. They want more than that. They want more than that. And then years go by, months go by, and they cannot find a good suitable spouse. Even if they go ahead doing it, then they become really aged, which means they cannot find a younger girl, where they have to find someone who's a bit elderly, or maybe who has been married before. Now, not degrading anyone who's been married before, a'udhu billah, but nowadays in the CVs, what do you find? Many a very late age, 35, 40, they're looking into getting married. Yes, this in itself is a musibah. This in itself is a musibah, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned it very explicitly. Man istata'a minkum al-ba'a falyatazawwaj. Very simply, those who are able to get married, then they should be able to get married. But many of us here also may be thinking, you know what, but that may not be relating to me. I say no, it does. Because marriage is a very beautiful act, my brothers and sisters. It is only beautiful if you make it beautiful. Because many of us, we can suffer really silently because our marriage is going hayway. It's not working well anymore. She doesn't want to talk to me. There is a separation going on psychologically. There's a divorce that is happening psychologically in our own mind, in our own psychology. And this is the reason why, for those who have already been married for a long period of time, then they need a new resolution in the marriage. They need changes happening. When years go by, when months go by, especially in my therapy that I find after 7 to 8 years of mark, after 10 years of mark, they need a new change in the relationship. Because now, years have gone by, a lot of things has happened throughout those years. Children were born, multiple kids have come, but you're still the same. But her physique has changed. She may have gone through postnatal depression. She may have gone through loneliness because you were busy working really hard to pay the bills, which is fine. But you yourself have been going through your own difficulty. So both of you become separate psychologically. And the shaitan loves that. The shaitan, he loves to separate the man and woman. He loves it. That's the very reason why one of the most famous sihr that is done in the community is يُفَرِّقُونَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ, to separate between a man and a wife. Yes, that's what happens in our community. You know, they don't love that beautiful relationship to last, to thrive. They don't like it. They don't like the fact that that person is enjoying his life. So the best conniving way, the most conniving way of ruining that beautiful relationship is what? Is through sihr. It's through magic and sha'wada. Yes, and that's what happens. Okay? So it is upon our duty to actually walk the talk, but it starts from the beginning, my brothers. It starts from the get-go. Your wife will take energy from you, and it's not the opposite. Some brothers, they say, yeah, I can better myself in my deen, after I get married, I can have children. It's a lie. No, it's not going to happen. You're the Amir. You're the leader of your own house. It's not the opposite, my brothers. Women, they change. Women, they are mailana, they will change. But you have to be focused. You have to be focused. You have to save your own family. You have to be the qa'id, the leader for your own children. It's not the opposite. But how can you lead your family if you can't lead your own nafs? Does it make sense, my brothers? How can you lead your own family, your own wife, if your own nafs has been ruined many months ago, many years ago? For this reason, as-salah is very important at your own home. You remind your family members from salah. My brothers, when there's no salah at your own home, there's darkness that comes in your own home. My brothers, many of us may not realize this, but the barakah gets lifted from your own home. When there's so much kathratul ma'azif, so much music going on at your own home, when there's no salam going, there's no dua going on, when there's no one mentioning, there's no Quran al-Kareem that been put at your own home, then what happens? The dark cloud starts hovering in your own home. That's how it is. And that's where the barakah gets lifted. So you don't feel comfortable anymore in your own home. You don't feel, you might as well work more hours. Even though you banged out 12 hours, don't mind doing another 15 hours. You just don't want to come home. Yes. Why, my brothers? Because that mahabba that was once one day in your own home, my brothers, it's going away. The very love and compassion that you lot had, that you lot enjoyed at your own home. I'm talking about the married brothers here. Those brothers who have not been married are yet to experience that beauty. Why I say this, my brothers, is because zawaj, because of lack of zawaj, lack of marriage in our community, it's failing. It's failing. Our community is going down the drain. We need to resuscitate it. How we do it is we do it through marriage. Because how many girls and boys out there that are doing haram relationship outside of marriage is a very big number as well. It's in a very high number. It's upon us to encourage our children. When our daughter reaches 18, 17, 19, after college, you remind them, my daughter, you want to get settled. If that's what you want, then tafaddal, I'll help you out with this. If you want to resume your education, if that's what you really want, then obviously we can delay it a bit more. But it's upon the father. It's upon the father, upon the mother to educate them, to remind them, to protect her deen as well. You protect your own deen, but you protect the iman of your own children as well. أقول قولي هذا نستغفر الله لي ولكم وسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب إنه هو البر الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. My respected brothers and sisters, there's few common traits that men have and what women have that ruins the beautiful home that we all have made one day. It ruins, it shatters it down. Number one, my brothers, is because the fact that she's under you, you somehow feel you're supreme. You have that supremacy inside your heart. You think, you know what? Yeah, I got her from her dad's house, whatever, innit? I'm the one who's going to rule her. You have that mindset. that is not like the fact that, you know what, she's a daughter of someone, she's my wife, she's my partner, and we're going to live together. I'm going to support her at the time of her difficulty, and I'm going to expect the same energy from my wife at the time of my difficulty. Brothers, how many times have we seen after living a life of 20 years, 25 years of marriage, it gets on, they can't see each other anymore. They can't stand each other. But the thing is, the man cannot leave the house because that's the only thing that has remaining in him. You know, they have children, the children have grown up. But those two adults, elderly people, they can't see each other anymore. Okay? It's happening more often. Wallahi, it's happening more often. Because they haven't sorted it out. Because the man made certain mistakes in his marriage. You know, he wasn't wise with finance. You know, dealing with money is a skill. You know, people may not have so much money, but they live a blissful life because they're happy with that little and they budget it out. And Jalla wa'ala, in that budgeting, he puts barakah in that money. Okay? Then you have another people where they've got so much money, but they still complain. They still complain. Wallahi, they are very tight as well. They don't want to give charity, billah alayk. They don't want to give any money. Okay, they don't give any money, they don't feed the poor, and there's no barak in the finance. They complain, the wife complain, and there's halak going on everywhere. So what happened is, they're not good with finance. So a lot of the issues stems from the finance. Another thing that brothers that they do to the wife, and subhanAllah, wives also do to the brothers, is they criticize them. They're very critical of them. You know, women generally, that's what they do. They love to mention all the stories that happened in the first years of marriage, and they'll count it down all the way to the end. Women, they do that a lot. But the thing is, as you're going by, as you're in that journey of marriage, now in that journey of marriage, my brothers, it's a journey to Allah Azza wa Jal. Because that same woman, if you depart from this dunya, that same woman, she will meet you in the Jannah as well. So it's an investment from the beginning. She will be your whore in Jannah. She will be your whore in Jannah. She'll be your queen in Jannah. So it's a journey that you embark upon together. But when you constantly criticize, she becomes defensive. Yes, it's a very common trait. She becomes defensive. And she will say things back to you. And you constantly saying negative things about her and devaluing her. That breaks her morale. That breaks her heart. As years go by, as months go by, it's not cured yet. You haven't apologized because you have ego, you have arrogance, you have pride. Yeah? So as months go by, years go by, khalas, yani, as zawaj muntaha, it's going away. Your marriage is deteriorating. Okay, there's no talk. And then after many years go by, and I'm telling the true story, they call up people like myself and other imams, said, you know what, my marriage is dying, and they start crying. I'm like, when was that time when you had to resuscitate your marriage? When was that time gone? How come you didn't resuscitate it back then? What was happening? There was so much sign that was going on in the early years of your marriage, but you never sorted it out. You never apologized. My man came and apologized to you, but you had too much arrogance and pride. Something what many brothers complain about their wives. They complain about the darkening of the heart because they can't forget. My man brings a lot of flowers over to her. It still doesn't faze her because she can't care about him anymore. But the thing is, what's keeping them going is billahi alayk are the children, which is not a good enough reason to live a good life. Brothers, this in itself is the whole topic. What I would say, my brothers, is that you educate yourself about marriage. Okay, learn about the fiqh of marriage. Okay, it's normal to be upset in marriage, by the way. The biggest thing the biggest challenges in life you're ever gonna go through for many of us are men is actually the life of marriage. Okay, especially in this time, especially here, where marriage is falling, is deteriorating. And unfortunately, the society that we live in, it doesn't help. Okay, in Allah musta'an, it doesn't help at all. When you have deen in place, when you have salah in your life, when you're truthful towards your wives, she'll see the truthful and ikhlas in your heart. And for our wives, if you're not truthful, for our wives, in the other room. If you are truthful towards your husband, then he'll be truthful towards you. It works both ways. You come together because it's a mu'jiza. It's a mu'jiza. It's a miracle that Jalla wa ala got you together because of the Quran al-Kareem. Subhanallah. You know, he says from among his signs is that you get married. No, both spouses come together. Why is it a miracle? Because you never knew each other. Now you come together. Now you're going to build a life together. And then you have beautiful children being born together. You know, you work as a team. What do this country, what do they teach you? You know, independency. You know, be independent. His money, her money, her money. Yes, the Sharia generally lays down that his money is the family's money. Her money is maybe her money by asl. But there is so many room for compromising here. Share it. It doesn't make sense for her to keep all her money in the account and then my man is working day in, day out just to pay the bills and the mortgage. No. You be more open and you get your best side out of you. Idfa' billati hi ahsan. You get the best side out of you and you make it work. You make it work, my brothers. And don't always mention the blessing that you have among everyone. Because unfortunately, we live in a society where our hearts are dead. They won't even appreciate when you start mentioning good things about your wife to another person. Try to hide it. Don't give the shaitan a leeway for him to ruin your relationship. Keep that beauty in your own home. Keep that beauty in your own bedroom. Keep that beauty within your own, within your own territory. صلوا على بشير النذير يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم إنا نسألك بأن لك الحمد لا إله إلا أنت المنان بديع السماوات والأرض ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم باعد بيننا وبين خطايانا كما باعدت بين المشرق والمغرب اللهم نقنا من خطايانا كما ينقى الثوب الأبيض من الدنس اللهم اغسلنا من خطايانا بالثلج والماء والبرد اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار ثبت قلوبنا على دينك يا مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا إلى طاعتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم انصر المستضعفين في كل بلاد المسلمين اللهم انصر المجاهدين والمرابطين في كل بلاد المسلمين اللهم انصرنا نصرا مؤزرا يا أرحم الراحمين إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. أقم الصلاة. Brothers, please be